Hey guys, it's King Boo Forums, and this is gonna be my first video on my Serious Boo Forums channel. It's basically videos that are gonna be from my basically that are different from my normal, goofy behavior. So I'd like to start out with my perception on death and stuff, and I'm gonna give you an example of a incident that happened to me. My dog has been he's dying, and it's been about a year and he's still hanging in there. We're surprised. Basically, we're not sure what's wrong with him. He got really skinny, and he can't like stay outside if it's really cold. We have to bring him in, and I don't want him to die, of course, but if he dies, I mean, that's just life. Things die. We're biological, beings, and he's a dog, and that's what he is. He's a big dog. But yeah, he's a good dog. He's very intelligent, I think. Well, not very intelligent. He's just a dog. He's got a good personality, he's quiet, very quiet dog, but he's a guard dog, so. And, excuse me. We got him checked out, and, we're not sure what's wrong with him. They wanted $600 I guess to see what was, because they did like a test, and then to see what's actually wrong with them, they wanted $600, which is absurd. But, that's just kind of how life goes, I guess, But, because the vets kind of need the money too, right? But, it's just, what actually made me mad is that, because I get money from the government every month, right? And I said to my dad, Dad, why don't you just take the money I get and use it to help to fix the dog, get the thing done? And my dad's just being ridiculous. He's just like, oh, well, we need that money for us, and we need that money for, your bills, and we need it for groceries and stuff. And, my dad makes, a fair bit of money, so himself. So I don't know why, I can't use my disability I get to help the damn dog. I don't understand why. I don't want my dog to die. I want him to live as much as possible. And, my dog is just, I look at him, and, he's constantly, like, arching his back, and, because he's in pain, his stomach, I think it's something to do with his stomach. And, I don't know, he's always, like, his limbs are just messed up, and, I don't know when that day is gonna come when we're gonna have to put him down, because, it's just, I had a dog once before, and, his name was Augie, and, he died. He got ran over, and then, he pretty much died at the vet. It was pretty gruesome. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, he died a pretty horrible death. But it was a good dog, But yeah, so that's pretty much what I think about that. And but I never paid a whole lot of attention to my dog to begin with. The one we have now that's kind of dying. I feel kind of bad. I didn't treat him bad or anything. I don't know. I play with him once in a while. I used to, but he's so, he's in a state where he can't, he's just kind of hanging on the edge of his own life. And he doesn't like play any much anymore. He acts like a really old dog. I think he's about 8 or 9. I don't really remember how old he is anymore. But yeah, and I kind of miss. I kind of wish I took advantage when he was still young and healthy. But this just kind of like just spooked up on us, Now he's just kind of It sucks to see him like this, but he's still alive, and I guess when we get to that point where we have to put him down, we have to put him down. What really sickens me is that the vets even charge money to put dogs down. I mean, is it really, honestly, you're gonna charge money to take a life away? That's just sickening. And I'm sorry, but, if worse comes to worse, I don't think that giving the vets money for putting the dog down is kind of an honorable death. I don't know. I mean, people sometimes they shoot their dogs when they're near death and they're suffering, and I mean, I don't know if I could ever do it. I mean, I consider myself a cold person, not in a sense that I'm a murderer or anything, but I just kind of don't care. I just don't care about a lot of things. I'm a very I wouldn't say selfish, just kind of oblivious to most things in terms of emotion, but because I try to base my everything I do off logic, and but if you basically what I'm saying is if I had to shoot my dog, would I to stop his suffering? Well, I kind of have mixed feelings about that, because there's two ways you can look at suffering. An example, say you're being tortured by terrorists or something. Okay, let's just make an example. And you have the option to, go with the torture, or you can just have yourself killed. Now, some people would say that, oh, well, I'm not going to be killed by a bunch of terrorists, I won't give you that pleasure. But then, there's some people that say, oh, well, I'm not going to I'm not gonna die. That'd be too easy. That'd be too easy. I'm not gonna sit there and die. So, because really, when they say I'm not gonna die like a dog, what does that mean? What do you mean die like a dog? Because, people always seem to have this thing where dogs and animals in general are better than people. Because, they look at their fuzzy faces and they feel warm inside. And that's kind of a selfish thing if you think about it. They only really care because, it makes them feel good inside. If my dog is going to die, I'm going to feel for him, not for me. I treat my dog like a dog, and I mean, I don't treat him like a human being, because he's not a human being. He is a primitive animal. I'm sure my dog has feelings, and most animals' emotions are, they're primitive. They feel pain, they feel loneliness, they feel anger, but I think human beings are just more complex. Human beings aren't like regular animals. They're more complex than that. And, I just don't think that, I mean, I'm not saying that my dog deserves to die, but if he's gonna die, it's gonna happen. I can't do anything about it. That's natural. And, now, I'm going to go a little off topic here, but you really got to be careful, too, when you're in a state of mourning, because, religious people, I notice, like to take advantage of that. That's how they can get you in, They comfort you with God. And you know what? I don't need, how do I put it? I don't need some, what's the word? I don't need some clarification. I don't need to feel good that, I don't need to feel good that my dog is going to go to heaven when he dies, or something, or the spirit world, or whatever, My dog, when he dies, he's either, going to be cremated, or he's going to rot in the ground, and so am I. So is everybody. And, because I know that's a morbid way of looking at things, but, I'd feel better than trying to convince myself that my animal is going to go to some alternative universe where he'll always be with me. And and that's another thing, like funerals and stuff. I don't go to funerals. You know why? Excuse me. I don't go to funerals because I don't see the point. I don't see the point in going to a funeral. It's just stupid. It makes me feel bad, and I don't see the point in doing that. I want to remember the person, I want to remember them by the good times, because all my memories are in my head. They're in my head, and I remember them. I don't want to remember them, I don't want to remember them, dead in a coffin or an urn, I don't, my aunt died last year, and I don't want her ashes. That's stupid. That's like sick. That's weird. If I want to think about my aunt, I'll think about the good times we had, not, I'm not gonna, I have a fucking jar of her burnt corpse in a jar, that doesn't comfort me. That makes me feel worse, and if my dad dies or my mom dies, I'm not gonna go to their funeral either. I'm not going to go there because that's stupid. I want to remember them when they were alive, not when they were dead. And people say, oh, well, it's good, to get with family and have a good cry. I'll cry at my house. They can come over and cry with me. But I don't need to be around their body. I don't, I mean, I've seen, my lifetime, I've seen somebody in a state of, like, death, like, body cut in half. Yeah, I was in an accident. I was in a car accident when I was 11. And I walked out, and the thing is, I don't remember it. But, the thing is, I kind of do. But, okay, I'll tell you what I mean. When the police came, and, all the ambulance stuff, the police officer told my mom, who was also in the accident, that I looked right at the woman that was cut in half. Like, like guts and everything, just because she got cut in half. She was thrown out the window, and I was the last thing she saw when she died. And I remember looking at a woman, but I don't remember a body cut in half. I just don't. I think that's my mind making a mental block. And to be honest, you might think, oh, you're a pussy. There's people been in war and stuff that have seen bodies. That's true. But, I'm not a soldier, and, even most soldiers can't handle it. I don't think that, I don't want to remember that. It's not a, I remember when I was 10 years old, I saved a 5-year-old out of a drowning pool. I gave him CPR. I just copied what I saw in the movies, and I saved, and everybody said I was a hero. I wasn't a hero. I was just doing what needed to be done. I couldn't let him die. I mean, he grew up to be a fucking pothead loser anyway. But, and he doesn't even remember me, I don't think. And at first I felt kind of offended by that. But, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, whatever, He was 5 at the time. He's 15 now. I was 10, and... But yeah, and my aunt, the whole thing about my aunt, she died out of her own stupidity. And my aunt was about almost 400 pounds, and when they did the autopsy on her, they found that 80% of her arteries were clogged, so she probably would have died anyway. How did she die, you may ask? Well, she took some type of medication, I don't remember. It was actually for, like, teeth, if you have, like, pain in your teeth. I guess she overdosed on it or something, and that's how she died. But, and it was an accidental overdose. If you're not careful, you're gonna die. I've almost overdosed on medication by accident a couple times. I've stopped myself, but, so, I mean, it was really funny because when my aunt died, I didn't cry the first day. I didn't really feel anything at all. And then the next day when I was in the shower, and I started crying. I don't know why. I mean, I never really knew her that much. She was pretty stupid. Like, she was a very unintelligent person. But, you know, she was a lot nicer to me than my other aunt was. You know, my other aunt has severe anger problems, so, you know, she was a lot nicer to me. And, I mean, she was stupid, but, you know, we had good times, we laughed, and the only thing I regret is, you know, making a really, really bad joke when I called her a year or two beforehand, the last time I talked to her physically over the phone. And I guess because my aunt's really overweight, right? And I made a joke about rape or something, and then she said, "Oh, don't say that because I was raped once." And I said, "Oh, who would rape you?" And then she got mad, hung up the phone, and then, I think, you know, a year or so after that, she talked to me on the computer and just said hi and stuff, and, you know, I mean, like I said, I wasn't that close to her, but, you know, I feel kind of bad, like, not sad, just, like, bad, you know, like, I feel really depressed, and like, well, not depressed, it's hard to explain, I just feel bad, basically, that's how I feel. I feel that, you know, I could have said something a bit nicer to her, you know, I could have said something a bit more, you know, not as rude, I don't know, I just feel really bad about the whole situation. But anyway, you know, I view death as just a natural thing, and once they're dead, they're dead. And, you know, going to a gravestone every day isn't going to make them come back to life. I don't want to visit their gravestone. I mean, you know, I have memories because they're dead. And, you know, to go and just constantly remind yourself that they're dead by going to their gravestone, that I don't know, in my opinion, that just makes me feel uncomfortable, and it makes me feel bad. I mean, I don't believe in ghosts or anything like that, but, you know, they're gone. They were a biological organism, and they're going to be in a state of unconsciousness for eternity, and that's, you know, pretty much the reality of it, and I can't do much about it. So, and that's how I think, and you know what, I think I feel better knowing that than knowing that, oh, they're going to be in another dimension or something. Because, you know, I can't lie to myself. You know, I mean, if you legitimately believe in that, and that's your opinion, but I'm an atheist agnostic, and I can't convince myself that, you know, that everything's going to be okay, because it's not going to be okay. They're gone. They're dead. And you know, okay, why do we want people alive? So we can converse with them, etc. That's still a selfish reason. You know, you don't want them alive so they're alive and they can live their lives. You want them alive so you can converse with them. I mean, it's a selfish reason. It's not like an evil selfish reason. It's a nice selfish reason, but it's still a selfish reason. You know? So, I don't know what to say. I mean, I know this is unscripted. I don't script my stuff. I should, but when I talk, I want it to feel natural. So, yeah. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be making more serious videos, so, thanks.